Hi folks, I'm on Android.com where we get on Android every day. Anyway, I'm testing out my new gimbal and recording this with my Galaxy S6. Like I was telling you, that's why I got it, so I can make videos like this. Anyway, I'm doing a quick studio tour. I know some of you asked me how I make my videos. So this is my setup. I've simply got a tripod, Manfrotto tripod, a fluid head, Manfrotto fluid head. This allows you to get that nice rotation. You can go up and down, just nice fluid motion there. So that's good for motion shots. And I've got the Panasonic GH4. This is like 1,600 bucks for the body. And I'm using my old Canon lenses. I actually don't have any actual GH4 lenses. I've got this thing called Metabones Speedbooster. Basically allows you to use your old Canon lenses. They have one for Nikon also if you have Nikon lenses. This is a great way because it also brings your f-stop down by 1. Basically if you have like f1.8, you can get f0.8. What that means, for those of you who don't know, basically the lower the f-stop, the more light you can get, so you'll be able to go even lower light. So it all just means really good videos, hopefully. Anyway, this is what I use right now. What I used to use, or for those of you just starting out, I do recommend starting out with the Canons. These are just as good, just you can't do 4K, that's why I'm now using the GH4. But this is the Canon 7D, this is what I started out with. Canon 60D, this one's actually great. I actually broke the LCD, but it still works fine. I really love it. This is one of the first Canons with a flip out screen. And this is a Canon 6D I just bought like during my vacation. And as far as lenses, don't get the kit lenses. You just need this one, the f1.8 50mm lens. And you just need this one, which is 24mm Canon lens. That's all you need. And if you really want to get started, I do recommend the T3i if you don't want to spend too much, because the video quality, HD video quality out of the Canon 7D, 60, T3i, they're all pretty much the same. You know, it's really the lenses you use that's going to make a difference. For photos, they're a lot different between those models, but for videos, they're pretty much practically the same. So you can get the cheapest Canon body and these two lenses I just talked about. Don't get the kit lens, they're worthless. Or also, if you want to just get really one good lens, get this one. This is a Sigma 18 to 35mm. I really love this one. Because I'll show you here, you can get like super close to your subject. You can be like an inch away and you'll be able to focus the camera. So this is how you do it. I got the fluid head, and I've got the GH4 running here. For microphone, I highly recommend this. This is a Sennheiser G3, the wireless. This is what everybody uses, so definitely recommend it. And this is my wireless microphone. I've been using this for like 5 years. I went to CES last year and everybody was using it. It's great. It's microphone, wireless, and also noise free. You can adjust the sound levels on both the receiver and the transmitter to get rid of all that hiss. You know, all these cameras will make hiss if you use the onboard. So I just plug in this one. That's pretty much it. If you want to spend any kind of money, I highly recommend to get this first. It beats anything out there on the market. Especially also it's wireless, so you can like make a video. You don't have to worry about where the microphone is, you know, you just move around. Alright, as far as setting up the camera, how to work the camera, I'll just give you a quick tutorial here. So the most important thing is obviously the zoom and the focus. So get it focused, right? And if you focus in like this and zoom out, it's gonna still keep the focus. And probably the most important thing is the ISO. I usually set it as low as possible, that way you get the least amount of noise. And you'll want to have good lighting, so I've got these boxes here. This is basically soft boxes I got on Amazon for like $100. Also got this wall mount, so I could mount it up here and I can move it back and forth. So these things come with these CFL bulbs, which suck. So I replaced them with LED. The ones I had before were using 45 watts. These only use 10 watts each, and also they're much brighter. Get the 5000K for the color temperature, and you'll have really bright lighting. That's pretty much it. I just move around this however I need. So let's go back to here. ISO, you want to set it as low as possible if you can help it, but there are times, you know, where you can't set it low if you're, you know, if you don't have good lighting. So 100, 200, whatever. Set it as low as possible. And this is the shutter speed where you see 60. So most of you, I do recommend starting recording at 29.97 frames per second, whether that's 1080p or 4K. You can also do 24 frames per second. That's like for cinematic. But I do recommend just setting it at 29.97. So this should always be 60 if you're doing 29.97 frames per second. That's because if you set, let's say I set the super high, and I try to any kind of motion, it's gonna look all stuttery. See that? That's because it's going at 200 frames per second. Now if you double the amount of frames per second you're doing, you're gonna get that natural motion there. All right, so what about aperture? So aperture is this dial here. Like I told you, my aperture can go down to 1.2 just because I'm using Metabones. So what this one does is that you can blur out the background with aperture. So at f 1.2, 1.6, let's say, you'll see that I have the subject in focus and everything else is blurred out. Now if you increase this number, what happens is that you'll be able to get more of the background. So there are situations where you want to do that. You can see I can get more of the background, more details. But for most shots, more close-up shots, when you want to make it like, you know, really cool, cinematic, you want to go as low as possible and then put your subject there. And you get that nice, clear shot of your subject, everything else blurred out. This is number one reason why I started using DSLRs, and then now I'm using GH4. You can sort of get this effect, I mean, if you do super close-up, but you know, with DSLR you get manual control, so you can have this and make this really high-quality video, you know, that looks really cool. With most camcorders, you're gonna get f something like that. Now it looks all dark, right? If you want to now when I increase the aperture like that at f11, I can barely see it. So now I'm gonna have to raise my ISO to match it. So I'm gonna go a little bit higher until this bar right here goes to the middle. So that would be ideal. And now you can see that I can see the foreground and the background. There are times when you want to do it. Let's say I'm recording outdoors and I want to show you guys the view of the ocean while showing you the product or something. Then you can set the aperture high like this. Go ahead and adjust your ISO accordingly and shoot it. Alright, but in most cases I like to shoot at the lowest ISO possible and also at the lowest f-stop possible. This is also called f-stop. Alright, that way I get that nice clear resolution. Now you'll see that I went too low and everything's overexposed, everything's too bright. So in this case I can actually turn off one of my lights, because it's too bright. I don't actually need it that bright. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. There's actually two dials, so I'm gonna go ahead and just turn off one of them and see how that affects the shot. And a little bit better. And you can see it's still too bright. The light meter, you can see it's overexposed. So I'm gonna actually turn off both. Another way you can do it is get a ND filter. And what that does is basically puts like a filter. It's like putting sunglasses on your camera. I'll show you that too. Here we go. So that looks like more right. And I actually didn't need any lighting. And I'm still way too bright here. So if I want to keep this just like this and keep the background blurred without raising my f-stop. If I raise the f-stop, I'm not gonna get as of a blurred out effect there. I'll get the lighting right. Now it looks normal, see? Alright, so there are situations where it's too bright, and let's say you want to keep the lights on or something, or you're outdoors, especially in the sun, then you can get this thing called ND filter. Basically it's sunglasses, like I said, for your lenses. Now this is a variable ND filter. I can actually control how black this thing gets. So let me go ahead and strap it on here. And I'm gonna actually turn my lights back on because I actually want the lights. So now you'll see that everything is black, and I'm gonna go back to my f1.2, and if I turn this dial, slowly turn it, you'll see that I'll be able to actually focus. So I'm gonna get it so I need it like right at where you saw the 0 there with the meter, so it's not too dark. If I go to the left, it's gonna be too much. Right there is perfect. So now what I can do is at f1.2, I can still record with all of this full lighting. I can get it clear just the way I want to and record it. Let's actually record a sample here. Alright, so boom, and I'm doing my review. The subject is in focus. You know, it looks really good, right? And and also my background is blurred out. Now when I didn't have an ND filter, what we used to do is I would just raise the aperture, you know, just to match the thing. Now it's too bright, right? I can't actually see some of the letters of the GoPro. So I would adjust the aperture to match it. But now it's at f3.2. Now you'll see that I'll be able to see the subject, but you lost that blurred effect, the depth of field. So that's how the pros do it. They use an ND filter. This is a variable. This is good for video, I think, because that way you can adjust it. They also have fixed ND filters. Those are, I think, better for photography because those are fixed. So if it's not exactly on, then you're not going to get the shot you want. So I hope this video helps you in understanding some of the differences here. So this way I can do that, and same thing with any kind of shot, whether it's close up, just knowing the shutter speed and your f-stop. Aperture basically means how big your hole is in the camera, and the smaller it is, I think bigger the hole gets, and then the larger it gets, the smaller the hole gets, so you get less light. See how the bigger the hole gets more light, and you can see I can see the background a lot easier when the hole is smaller. All right, you can try this with your eyes. Make a hole like this and try to look through like a small hole, and you'll see that you can see things a little bit more clear. All right, if you do this, you'll just see normal. All right, that's just a concept, but knowing how to work with the f-stop, shutter speed is probably #1 with videos, and this is probably the preferred method. I mean, if you want to keep it simple and just use a camcorder, just do it. You're not going to be able to get these shots, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick tutorial. So just remember, just set your shutter speed to 60 and aperture depending on how much blur background you want. If you have too much light, you can get an ND variable filter. Also get your ISO as low as possible if you can, and try to record where you have very good lighting. Then you can go as low as 200, 100, whatever your camera allows. And the process is pretty much same for Canons. Maybe I'll have another tutorial on it. If you guys are interested, I'll do another tutorial with Canon. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you don't understand what shutter speed and aperture is, and you want to make some good quality YouTube videos, definitely this should get you on the right start. And if you're thinking about getting a good camera, I do highly recommend getting the Canon T3i with the 2 lenses I recommended. I'll actually put that down in my description if you want to get started. That's probably the best way, I think, if you want to make high quality videos. I don't actually recommend any of the camcorders. I have a Sony 4K camcorder, but I'm gonna sell it on eBay. Or you can also try some mirrorless cameras like Sony's or Samsung's. They also have interchangeable lens. Just try to get a camera that has an interchangeable lenses, like the Canon series or even the Sony, I think A7X or whatever. And also there's Samsung, the new Samsung DSLRs, mirrorless cameras. But the actual use of the camera is pretty much the same. Shutter speed, aperture, ISO, everything manual if possible. That's pretty much it. That's your secret. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. If you guys want more videos like this, just do let me know. I'll try to do one per week, and I'll see you guys soon. As always, hasta.